Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the I Have to Watch podcast. Today I am alone. My name is Sam, aka Just Casual if you do not know me. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, here's my insert adjective and then face. We are gonna go through a new article. We've done this before, 10 Thoughts, LCS Spring 2018. And this is going into week 9, the last week of the LCS, where playoff spots will be secured. People, dreams and hearts will be broken. Let's see what Kian Lam has to say this week. Don't call it a Morgana bind because this split went by so quickly. Because Morgana binds take freaking forever. 1 week left, 3 teams eliminated from playoff contention with 1 more to join them. Either Counter Logic Gaming, Team Liquid, or TSM will find themselves on the outside looking in. All 3 organizations wear heartbreak on their sleeve, but which one will wear it most prominently? Here's this week's 10 thoughts. FYI, this is not a power ranking. So, number 1, Cloud9, Dark Elementalist Luck. If you guys aren't aware, Sneaky released his latest cosplay where he's dressed up as... At number 1, we have Cloud9 at 11 and 5. Dark Elementalist Luck. Guess we know the skin Sneaky will be picking if C9 wins Worlds. The MVP race is going to be pretty interesting going down the stretch if Fox continue their slide. Then you'd figure a player from C9 would be the favorite. But with so many teams clustered together in the standing, it's going to be a tough call. Jensen and Smoothie are definitely both in the running, so my advice for them this week is to take all the kills. Smoothie should just run Ignite and spam, oops, sorry, didn't mean to, after he takes the kills. All right, so my thoughts on this, yeah, MVP race is going to be, I think there are a lot of players in the running, and it's pretty close, so this last week might be determining who gets MVP for the split. Should be really interesting. But anyway, Cloud9, they are at the top of the standings. Most likely, they will not lose a playoff bye. So C9 is against Team Liquid and FlyQuest. FlyQuest could pull out an upset. I don't think it's going to happen. Even though Cloud9 has been looking worse, I think Cloud9 really wants to secure their playoff bye. So we're not going to see really weird shenanigans from Cloud9. I think the fall with Cloud9 and Echo Fox, I think they were just experimenting with things with a little bit of cushion on their ranking. And now they've gotten very, very close and they might lose that first place spot. But I think they looked at their schedule and they realized they can sacrifice some things, especially with Echo Fox's slump. Because honestly, first seed and second seed might not be that much difference when we talk about their playoff performance or their regular season performances, where Cloud9 and Echo Fox were kind of set apart from everyone else in the league. We did see some weakness recently, but again, I think that was Cloud9 just kind of testing things out and not necessarily a slump in their actual performance. Plus, best of 3s, best of 5s. I actually don't know what the playoffs are playing with. I'm guessing best of 5s. But with that, I think Cloud9 has a lot of experience. Reaper, their coach, has a lot of experience, so drafting will be good. And I'm not too worried about Cloud9, so I think the author's right, just focusing on who's going to get MVP because Cloud9 will do just fine. So Echo Fox at number 2 at 11 and 5, tied for first place. Kian, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But anyway, their first O2 week. What have you done for me lately is my second favorite metric to predict playoff success in any sport. Which team has a better mascot is number 1. Which means Fox's slide to end the season doesn't bode well for them in my book. When they were winning, they were playing with a lot of swagger, but that can come with sloppiness and they'd show signs of flailing in the mid-game even when they were winning. You want steady play when it comes to playoffs? That makes Fox a difficult team to bet on, a very difficult team to bet on. So Fox has a kind of similar schedule to Cloud9 actually. They're both playing FlyQuest, and we also see Fox is matched up with a top tier team of 100 Thieves. Team Liquid and 100 Thieves, not really sure which one's better. Team Liquid did take a really, really clean game off of 100 Thieves, but 100 Thieves looked amazing last week against the bottom teams and amazing in their win against TSM. So anyway, Echo Fox is probably going to go 1-1. I predict that 100 Thieves is going to beat them. I think Fox's bot lane has been exposed and they got to figure out what they need to do about that. And with the changes in the top lane meta, We're not seeing Huni playing top lane carries. That being said, you can counterpick tanks. You can play around that. You could put Adrian on a tank. You could put Dardoch on a tank. Maybe even the mid laner could play like tanky Galio. Phoenix could play a tanky Galio, or who knows, right? And then you can have an AD carry that can kind of just self-peel or just like kill people by themselves. I think if they figure out a way to utilize Huni better than just putting him on a Cho'Gath, which kind of can do a lot, I think then Echo Fox can possibly put out the 2-0. But I think probably with his experience over Iniro, I think probably has the draft better, and the team just 100 Thieves just seem to have a very clear understanding of how to win a game and play to that win condition. So Fox, I can see dropping a game, and that means 100 Thieves could possibly take that first place spot, or tied for first place spot. So let's just go into that. Number 3, we have 100 Thieves at 10-6. Holy crap, this is my team, baby. Sunrise, 100 finally put Someday on a carry, and he carried Darius Dunks 101. Or should I say 100? This will be a particularly scary team come playoffs because they can play around the top and bottom sides of the map with relative ease. I think a lot of hype around Cody Sun slowed down when he had his infamous Cody Dunn play at Worlds last year, but he's leading the league in kills and kill participation at the moment. Now 100 have a tough week with CG and Fox on deck. This will be a good glimpse at their playoff form. So I think even if 100 Thieves goes 0-2, which I don't expect, I think they will go 2-0. I don't think they go 0-2, but even if it go 0-2, that means they drop to 10-8. They still get playoff bye, and they probably get last place. They probably get 6th place, which is not that big of a deal because they'll face whoever's in 3rd place or 4th place, and that's going to be any of these teams right here. And I think 100 Thieves has shown that they can beat any of the teams from 3 to 6 anyway. So 100 Thieves actually winning out, not as big of a deal, because if it's funny, because if they win out or they lose out, they could still potentially have the same playoff matchup, which is just ridiculous because this whole 4 teams from 2 to 6 is really, really close. Maybe Chronologic Gaming as well, but yeah, this should be really, 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 really interesting. So 100 Thieves, I think, are going to look amazing. They're going to find so much strength going into the playoff with Prawley, who has just been drafting amazingly. And again, even with the tricky drafts, I think 100 Thieves, the team, have done a very, very good job in playing to the win condition. I said this before. I am repeating myself way too much, but that's what I really, really believe. That's really, really impressive because you have smart coaches, maybe like Reaper might say, and then the team doesn't play towards those win conditions. Or maybe TSM is the same way with Song. Yeah, actually, I would say TSM is the same way. I think Song, I don't really know how good or bad his drafts are, but I'm pretty sure they've been pretty good. And TSM hasn't been able to play towards those win conditions. And we've seen that. So number 4 on the list, we got Clutch Gaming, 10-6, tied with 100 Thieves. Steady growth. The win over Fox last week was a big statement game made from CG. They've been very good against teams below them, but not good against teams above them in the standings. Sometimes it just takes a win like this to give a team the confidence to believe they are capable of winning it all. In any sport, there are teams and players who think they are good. And then there are teams who don't think that at all. For those teams, there's never any doubt. They just know instinctually they're good. I don't know where CG's mentality is right now, but to me, this is a very good team. All their players are top 5 in KDA, with Solo, Hakuho, Fabivin all leading their respective roles. Yeah, I like this opinion. I actually think CG doesn't have a mentality issue, and this is just assumptions and listening to interviews and seeing how they talk about their team. But I think Solo has no reason to feel bad. I think that he has proven himself to be almost a Licorice, but I don't think that's a chip on his shoulder. I don't think he really cares that Licorice is talked about more than Solo. All of Clutch Gaming is used to being ignored and not valued, and they just keep performing. So what I see is that Clutch Gaming is like, why do people hate us? We're doing well. People are stupid. And I think that's what Clutch Gaming's mentality is. So I don't think there is any worry about their mentality thinking they're not good. I think they strongly believe that they can be number one. Doesn't mean that they are number one, but they can totally take games off of the number one seed, and they could finish NALCS number one champions for this split. And I don't think that is a crazy possibility. I think that is realistic, just because, I mean, it's his first. The teams are still figuring themselves out. It's best of ones, not as many games. And yeah, that's Clutch Gaming. Liquid Sweat. How did Liquid even end up in this position? Will the gravitational pull from 4th place be enough to save them from falling out of the playoffs? They've been incredibly average for weeks now, which is decidedly not a good look for a team of stars. It'd take a pretty major collapse for them to miss playoffs altogether at this point. 3 straight losses, one of which to Optic at that. But Liquid fans may remember having lost 3 games at the end of the season in the past. Maybe it's Impact's declining form. Maybe it's Doublelift's lane focus not synergizing well with Ole's roam style. They could still figure it out, but I just wonder if it's too late in the season and in these players' career to expect a change up in their styles. Ooh, in the player's career. I think you're talking about Impact and Doublelift. Maybe Pole Belter. I mean, maybe Pole Belter needs to be more selfish and carry games, but I think this might be an over-exaggeration, and I'm getting that from probably not that reliable of a source. Watching watching squads and listening to Team Liquid and when talking about what they're going through, the consensus from that is that Team Liquid is kind of messing around and testing stuff and not playing just what they're strong at, right? They're trying to grow as a team, and they're not just be like, all right, we could camp Doublelift and we could just carry from there if you pick me Caitlyn. I don't know if that is actually what they were trying to do or that is their best option, but they are avoiding doing that. They are actually trying to practice new things and figure out how to play those and stretch themselves, right? So this is the thing. I think Team Liquid knows that they're a top caliber team, and that might be cockiness. I'm not really sure, but they know they're like the best, right? And you have a person like Doublelift who is like, we are the best team and everyone is trash, whether it's right or wrong. So there's a lot of confidence there. Maybe that's a bit too much confidence, but we will see. So Team Liquid is testing their styles, testing different win conditions, and seeing how they can play against that. So we've seen Team Liquid have glimpses of glory, and that's because they have all-star players. So I think what's going to happen this last week, they're going to play to win it, right? We might see them go 2-0. They should go at least 1-1. They're against Optic Gaming, which is looking very sad. And then they're against Cloud9. I think they could beat Cloud9. I don't know if they will, but I think they can beat Cloud9. Actually, I take that back. I think Cloud9 wins that one. So then I think Team Liquid goes 1-1 because I believe unless Impact is able to show something, beat his lane opponent, I think Team Liquid and Cloud9 is so similar that the matchup might be determined in the top lane. Unless the whole Doublelift Ole synergy falls apart and maybe Doublelift and Ole are able to get a lead in the bot lane. But I think, I don't know where they focus. I think both teams could focus on the bot lane, and maybe if Cloud9 doesn't focus on bot lane while Team Liquid does, I think Sneaky will actually fall behind a little bit behind Doublelift, and Doublelift might be able to carry the game. That's my thought. I think Team Liquid still makes playoffs. Next, we have TSM at number 6, who is also 9-7, tied with Team Liquid. Surely they'll make playoffs, right? Step 1, spend the season being critical of TSM because you expected better of them. Step 2, pick them to win the whole thing anyway. I've got TSM over Michigan State University in my March Madness bracket. If they enter the playoffs in the 6th seed but still win the spring split, then we're not going to remember the regular season anyway. That said, the ultimate storyline would be seeing TSM stumble on Saturday. It's against GGS, so unlikely. So then we get to see a 9-8 TSM taking on a 8-9 CLG at the end of the split. I imagine the tension and pressure of a game like that would actually be good for TSM's development if they win it. I don't see either of these teams going 0-2, right? Team Liquid should go 1-1. TSM should go 1-1. If not, either of those teams can go 2-0. So with that, I think they're right. TSM does make playoffs. I don't think they can lose to Golden Guardians. Although I think Golden Guardians could beat them. But TSM, if we were talking about earlier in the season, because Golden Guardians looking better and better, I don't think they look good enough to beat what TSM is looking like right now. Mike Young has shown tons of improvement with Walden helping him. Mike Young's mentality and comfort and just familiarity with the stage is growing and growing with the team as well. I think TSM go 2-0 and maybe get the 5th place spot. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. TSM's just looking better. Moving on to number 7, we have Counter Logic Gaming at 7-9. Too little, too late? Everything needs to go right in order for CLG to sneak into playoffs, which means almost everything will go right until they do something dumb at Elder Dragon. Oh, savage. One can see CLG's future by looking at their past. CLG making playoffs after the start they had would be one of the most remarkable runs we've ever seen in the LCS. Everybody on the team has been playing well, but I think Stixxay in particular has really stood out when compared to CLG's struggles earlier on in the season. He's tied with Cody-san with most kills in the league at 70, 20 of which came last weekend. They'll need some help to get in at this point though. I think them finishing 9-9 on a 6-game win streak, but missing playoffs is a very likely outcome. I think he hit the nail on the head on this one. I think it makes perfect sense. Even if CLG beat TSM, TSM gets 1 win and then boom, it's done. And like I said, Liquid, done. I don't know if there's much to say. CLG does look so much better, but at the same time, they still look like crap. Because like last week, they had a really, really rough game that just looked really, really sloppy, even though they have been looking better if we just talk about the last few weeks, just as a whole. Number 8, we have FlyQuest, a bird in the bush. Watching them fail to close out that game against CLG is pretty much the only glimpse you need to get a grasp of how their season went. Fly has some massive synergy issues, and maybe an off-season will help them figure that out. Compared to the other 2 teams at the bottom of the standings, I don't see as many people pointing at individual players as being the problem. But maybe that just makes it hard to actually understand why they struggled. To fly, a chick must first jump from the nest. I'm unsure if Fly's split was a free fall or they simply haven't jumped yet. What do I want to say about FlyQuest? They're against Echo Fox and Cloud9 this week. Probably lose both of them. I don't see anything. I think like there's nothing to talk about with FlyQuest. Whatever. All right, for number 9, Golden Guardians 4-12, tied for last place with Optic Gaming. All that withers is gold. Their consecutive weeks with a win finally came to a halt last weekend. I think Golden Guardians definitely showed growth over the split, but I guess it doesn't make much sense for me for that to be the goal. Maybe that was just them tempering expectations, but it's not like being at the bottom of the table nets any tangible rewards like draft picks in sports. So what does an offseason look like for them? Is their path of growth defined well enough to make the leap from perceptions of not belonging to actually making worlds in the summer? In the new world of franchises, I wonder if teams will be willing to give struggling rosters more time. Yeah, this one's really interesting. I like what he brought up because now we have a franchise system. Everyone's talking about long-term growth, all that kind of stuff. Golden Guardians, the story behind them at the early beginning of the season, which I don't think was intentional for Golden Guardians, they have an all-NA squad. That wasn't their intention. They weren't trying to build an all-NA squad. They're not a xenophobic organization. And now realizing that they are not super great. Actually, I take that back. As an all-NA squad, I think Golden Guardians have performed really, really well. High thinks that they are a middle-of-the-pack team. I think they are better than FlyQuest. I think they might be better than CLG. And that's it. Again, all these mid-tier teams that are struggling, like Team Liquid and just Team Liquid, I think are just messing around. And because of that, I think that Golden Guardians, if you look at all those mid-tier team performances right now, yes, Golden Guardians could beat them on their best day. But I also don't think that those mid-tier organizations and teams are playing actually like, I think they're kind of messing around a little bit. I think they know they have playoffs, so they're experimenting. The patch just came out, so things are a little weird. And they are just playing for growth rather than for wins necessarily. Not ignoring wins. So I think Golden Guardians actually is just an 7th place team. I think they're better than FlyQuest. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, no, I take that back. I think they're better than FlyQuest and CLG. So yeah, that puts them at 7. So still out of playoffs. I can't do math. This is a long recording. So yeah, I don't know about Golden Guardians. I think they might want to take make a change, and you might change out the mid laner. Find an import slot for a mid laner. Replace High. I would love to see High as a support again. I think Matt's doing a great job, but I think depending on how value the shot calling aspect of, I think it really depends on how valuable High shot calling is compared to what a better mid laner can bring to the game, their shot calling ability, contract shot calling ability, and Matt's shot calling ability. And those are things that are hard to determine outside of a game or outside of an organization. All right, number 10, we have Optic Gaming at 4-12, tied for last place with Golden Guardians. In need of some downtime, Optic's split continues to be summed up by their inability to play around the top lane. I've said it for weeks, but that needs to be the thing they address in the offseason. I'm not so sure it's as easy as sticking a new player in. As is though, the formula to beating Optic seems to be simple. Camp top. The struggles may have been exacerbated by having a rookie coach as well. It was a major adjustment period for the players and the organization. I think Optic is a team most likely to see some restructuring in the offseason, and this final weekend may serve more as an audition for some of their players. That'd be interesting. I'm not really sure if Optic is going to bring up people from their Academy League. You know what would be really interesting? If Golden Guardians bought out Power of Evil. There's no reason why Optic would give up Power of Evil unless they're able to get a big enough contract where they're able to find 2 other people that they can sub in for Power of Evil. That would be interesting. Because I think Power of Evil could actually carry Golden Guardians to be a mid-tier team. That would be interesting. Don't think it's happening. Yeah, Optic just looks bad. I feel really... The game, 100 Thieves versus Optic Gaming, I did like a match recap of that one, or analysis, I guess you can say. And holy crap, I felt so bad for Zig. Zig was just, you could see his face. He was tilted. He was just like, I am tired of this. I just want to play some League of Legends, and you guys are camping my lane and making it difficult. He deserved it because he played poorly. Or maybe not poorly. He just positioned poorly and is somewhat unlucky. But yeah, that really, really sucks. Power of Evil Arrow carrying that team so hard with very little help from the rest of the team. But I don't know who you find. I think you could trade players from Golden Guardians to Optic and maybe like even them out so everyone is a net win. That would be interesting. That'd be very interesting if there was like just a trade between those two. Like they bet on like, oh, if we're being High, we can do something really cool. Like High in the jungle for, oh, there you go. Put High in the jungle for Optic Gaming. And then I don't know who Optic Gaming wants to give up. They don't want to give up Power of Evil Arrow. That's just dumb. So, that'd be so interesting if they picked up High as their jungler on Optic Gaming. Yeah, it's really curious to see what Optic Gaming will do in the offseason and how little faith or how much faith they have in their players, because Zig's not going to get any better, I don't think. Doklo at least is young talent, so if he performs just as well as Zig, then at least he has a ceiling that is unknown. Zig, I think, we've seen his ceiling and it's not very great. I don't know who you find. You got to find some crazy rookies like Licorice to bring in. Otherwise, we don't see it. Because you can't get any more imports with Power of Evil and Arrow being on the roster. Maybe replace Arrow. But Arrow's been playing well, but maybe like, oh man, I don't know. I think you replace Arrow if you can instead. I think he's less important of an import spot than Power of Evil, and maybe you use an import slot to take up a top laner or something. The match preview, CLG versus TSM. Nah, that's not the match preview. Okay, let's read it. What he says. This is the type of game that has the potential to reset the entire rivalry. For CLG fans, the first time they knocked out TSM in the 2015 Summer Finals at Madison Square Garden was legendary. I think it was a 3-0. It was crazy. It was a lifting of a curse and a burden they'd shouldered for years as a lesser team of the rivalry. But this game, this could be their first step towards knocking TSM out of playoff contention altogether. They'd have to win a tiebreaker as well. I can't imagine a dreamier scenario for the pettiest of CLG fans. TSM would have made 10 straight NA LCS finals, then missing the playoffs would be so surreal. But possibly, here we are. CLG doesn't have any control over their own fate, though. They need Team Liquid to go 0-2 this weekend against C9 and Golden Guardians, or for TSM to go 0-2. And even then, they'd only be forcing a tiebreaker. There's a world in which CLG finishes the split in a 6-game win streak, but on the outside of playoffs looking in, even though they might be in the best form of any team in the league at that point. That would truly be counter logic. Yeah, that's pretty funny. The only reason why this might be the match of the week is depending on how if TSM loses this game, or if Team Liquid loses this game, and they are really actually looking for that tiebreaker last 6th place spot. That could be super, super big. But I doubt that's going to happen. So I would say the match of the week would be 100 Thieves versus Clutch Gaming, or I would say 100 Thieves versus Echo Fox, because I think 100 Thieves versus Echo Fox is the game that determines if 100 Thieves gets the first place, probably the first place bye, or the first round bye. I'm sorry. Now, I might be a little bit biased because I'm a 100 Thieves fan, but I think this is the game to watch. I think this is the scariest game. I think 100 Thieves is the team to watch this week because they're so interesting, because I think their games are going to be good. They're going to be hard games, and they're the only team that actually has 2 hard games in a row. Yeah. Yep. I think it would have been interesting if CLG versus TSM was the last game of the day. Whatever. Anyway, I think that pretty much rounds out the 10 thoughts going into NA LCS Spring 2018. Sorry, I just did this by myself. Hopefully it was interesting enough. Hopefully I got through it fast enough. I stumbled over a lot of words, but thank you for being so forgiving. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you want more of this content. If you're listening to us on podcast, don't forget to share this with your friends. Let us know, tweet us, contact me in Discord, or whatever. I want to hear from you guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Eye of the Watcher podcast, where we give you all the support and insight you need to get hyped about League of Legends esports. See you guys next time.